Get ready for unique, rare, and little-known treasures from the golden age of radio. You're listening to The Amazing World of Radio with Adam Graham.
Welcome to The Amazing World of Radio. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham. If you have a comment, email it to me, box13@greatdetectives.net. We continue our baseball series, and today we're going to bring you an episode of Dick Cole. Dick Cole was a juvenile adventure series, and the first evidence I have of the series airing was during World War II. It has been compared to Jack Armstrong, All-American Boy, though maybe even a bit more so. Dick Cole is a student at Parr Military Academy, and this is one of his adventures. The program is entitled The Big Baseball Game.
Presenting Dick Cole and his thrilling adventures at Parr Military Academy.
We'll always be near to Parr. We'll praise her wherever we are. We'll cheer her each day with a hip, hip, hooray. It's a rule, there's no school like Parr. We'll sing out our loyalty. We'll ring out with voices free. As we travel through life, we will follow our star. We'll always be near to Parr.
Listen, boys and girls, today we bring you another exciting episode in the adventures of Dick Cole at Parr Military Academy. You've known Dick Cole in Blue Bolt magazine and in Foremost Comics for a long time, and now you meet him every week at this time over this same station on the air. In just a moment, you'll hear from Dick Cole himself. But first, here's a message you'll all want to hear. Now, here's Dick Cole to tell you about today's story.
Hi, gang. Our story today is on something you all like and know about. Baseball. In the most crucial game of the season, there was a very clever trick pulled that almost worked. And if it had... Oh, but I'm getting way ahead of myself. Parr and Wilson Academy were tied for the league lead. And as our last game of the season was with Wilson, whoever won would win the championship. Naturally, we were bearing down pretty hard in practice. Ted Green was our pitcher. And one day, about 5 days before the Wilson game, Ted was pitching to me. He was doing his darndest to strike me out. And our coach and my roommate, Simba, who was cadet manager of the team, were standing near the dugout watching. Simba was laughing.
Oh, boy, look at that, Coach. Dick and Ted are both bearing down hard.
Looks like Ted wants to strike him out, and Dick doesn't want to be struck out.
Nobody can strike Dick out, Coach.
I wouldn't say nobody, Simba. That's a big word. But I will admit Dick has an uncanny batting eye. He almost always connects with the ball.
Well, that's why he's hitting .367 so far this season, sir. Boy, look at that!
Oh, boy, he really connected with that one. The left fielder pulled it down. Nice work, boys, nice work. You know, Simba, Ted Green is a sweet pitcher.
I'll say he is. Won 11 and lost only 1. He's a cinch to be named pitcher on the honorary league team. And I'll bet that Dick will be made first baseman on the honorary team, too.
I wouldn't be surprised. But the important thing at this point is to beat Wilson.
We'll clean the living daylights out of them, Coach.
I hope so. That Wilson pitcher, Sandy Carlson's a clever boy.
When Dick and Ted and the rest of our murderers row start pounding Carlson, he won't know what hit him, Coach.
Well, I hope you're right, Simba. Now, excuse me for a minute, will you?
Oh, sure.
I have some news to give Dick and Ted. Cole and Green, that's enough out there for now. Come over here a minute.
Hello, Coach. You wanted us, sir?
That was nice going out there, boys.
Thanks.
Ted, I don't want you to strain that pitching arm between now and Saturday. Take it a little bit easy.
Okay, sir.
I want both of you to keep your batting eyes as sharp as you can. Have the scrub pitchers throw them in at you.
Right, Coach.
The best way to hit that Carlson, boy, is to hit him good and hard. I'm going to concentrate on batting practice for the rest of the week.
Oh, that sounds good to me, Coach. Oh, listen to Dick. He's the happiest guy I've ever seen when he's got that hickory or ash in his mitts. You don't do so badly yourself, pal.
Boys, there's something else I want to say to you.
Oh, yes, sir?
Have either of you ever thought about really playing baseball professionally, I mean?
Well, no, sir. I sure never thought about it. Never occurred to me either.
Well, I believe that in time, with proper training, you're both major league material. In any event, I think you ought to know something. Dan Trimble, an old friend of mine, is coming to see the game on Saturday, and Dan is a big league scout.
That's fancy. Yeah, it sure is.
I had a letter from him this morning. He told me that he's coming to watch you two and Carlson of Wilson Academy. So I just thought I'd tip you off, in case you're interested.
Thanks a lot, Coach, but I'm going to college next fall. Yes, and I'm coming back here to Parr. But it's nice to know that a scout thinks enough of us to want to give us the once-over anyway. Don't you think so, Ted? Oh, you bet. Well, even if we aren't interested in playing professional baseball, we can certainly show him a hot game, if we can. We'll do that all right. You know, it just came to me. I wonder if Sandy Carlson over at Wilson wants to play pro ball. Because if he does, he's really going to bear down on us Saturday to make a good showing. And that's no kidding.
Hey, Sandy.
Oh, hiya, Downey.
I've been looking all over for you. What have you been doing?
Looking over some of these big league records ever since practice. Boy, how I'd love a crack at the real stuff.
That's why I've been looking for you. You shot out of the locker room so fast that the coach missed you. You know what? Dan Trimble, the big league scout, is going to be at the game on Saturday.
He is? Boy.
Coach said to tell you Trimble wants to see you in action. That's one of the reasons he's coming to the game.
That's my break.
Yeah, and it's too bad, isn't it?
What do you mean, too bad? Are you nuts?
I meant that
This is just a break I've been waiting for. I'll pitch a game that Dan Trimble won't forget. And the farm team won't forget it either.
That's what I'm trying to say, you jerk. I think it's a tough break and a hunk of lousy luck to have a scout come and see you in just this particular game.
I don't get you.
Because of that far murderous roll, that's why. Dick Cole and Ted Green and Bill French and the rest of that far team have made every pitcher they've met all season look putrid.
Yeah, they are pretty heavy hitters from what the coach tells me. He's been warning me that I'm going to have my hands full.
You'll make a great impression on a big league scout, all right, when that far team knocks you clear out of the box. That'll be swell, won't it?
Well, then I got to make pretty darn sure they won't knock me out.
Look, Sandy, you're good, but you aren't that good. Just run your eye over the batting averages those birds have. I tell you, they're terrific. And even with the control you have over the horse eye, the chances are they'll make a monkey out of you.
I've got to look good in that game. And it isn't winning the championship that I'm concerned about either. It's impressing that big league scout.
How are you going to do it? Wave a magic wand over the baseball so the far guys don't touch it?
You know, Donnie, you may have an idea there at that.
What in the devil are you talking about?
Maybe I ought to do a little magic wand waving. Maybe the baseball itself is the answer. Donnie, look, run over to the locker room and swipe me a half a dozen baseballs. I got some work to do.
But, Sandy,
Do what I say. I gotta look like the world's greatest pitcher to that scout on Saturday, and I don't care what I have to do or how I have to do it to get there. Now go on. Delicate work. Getting away the cork and the rubber. I think maybe this one will work. And the next thing is to get it set up again so that nobody will know the difference. You gotta be careful about all this. Gotta get this stuff put away. Who's there?
It's me, Downey.
Oh, okay, Downey. I'll unlock the door.
Boy, you're sure keeping yourself locked up, Sandy. What's...
Come in and close the door, you fool. Anybody who passes in the corridor can look right in.
Okay, don't be so edgy. Now, what's all the mystery about it? What are you doing up so late, anyhow? I noticed your light was still on, so I thought I'd drop in.
Don't be so nosy. It isn't healthy.
You'd think you were turning out some secret stuff for atomic bombs or something the way you act. Hey, what are all those baseballs doing out? Is that why you've been staying up so late?
If you say a word to anyone, Downey, about what I've been doing here, so help me,
How can I say anything to anybody when I don't know myself what you're doing?
One more crack, Downey.
Oh, don't be so touchy. You know darn well I'm not going to go blabbing anything. I know that you're monkeying around in some way with these baseballs for the game against Parr,
And keep away from that
For
baseball.
Pete's sake, I'm not going to hurt it. I only picked it up to hold
Put it down, I say.
Oh, all right.
Come on.
You don't have to get so tough. I'll put it down.
Now.
Oh, I'm sorry it slipped. I dropped it.
All right, let it go. Let's just forget the whole thing.
You know, there was something awfully funny about that baseball.
I'll leave it where it is. Just let it stay there on the floor.
Okay, but I'd sure like to know what it is that was so funny. I won't say anything to anyone, Sandy. You don't have to worry. But I'd sure like to know what it is that's gone haywire with that horsehide.
Never mind what it is, Downey. But I will say you've done me a favor. Dropping that ball has shown me one thing. I'm certainly on the right track. You more out?
The ball was acting peculiar while it was falling. And when it hit the floor, too. Come across, Sandy. What does it mean?
Well, it means, my friend, that the big league scout is going to think I'm the best pitching find to come along since Lefty Grove. And it means that Dick Cole, Ted Green, and company are going to get whitewashed on Saturday. Yeah, Downey, it means they're going to ring up the biggest little goose egg you've ever seen.
We'll go back to the adventures of Dick Cole in just a moment. But right now, boys and girls, I have a message for you from the people who bring you this program. Back to the adventures of Dick Cole. You'll remember that we left Sandy Carlson, the Wilson Academy pitcher, experimenting with some baseballs just a few days before the game with Parr. Sandy wanted to look good to the big league scout who was going to be at the game. And whatever it was that he was doing to the baseballs didn't look too good for Dick Cole and the rest of the Parr team. Well, the day of the game finally arrived. Dan Trimble was in the crowded stands. And at the last half of the sixth inning, the score was tied 0-0. The Parr coach was talking to his boys on the bench. He looked worried.
Boys, I don't like the looks of this thing. I say I don't like the looks of this thing, boys.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll
Yes,
get that
sir.
fella.
Well, I
Crossing
hope
yet,
you
Coach.
boys better hurry it up. Ted, you're pitching a nice game, but it isn't airtight by any means.
I know it, Coach. Boys saved me half a dozen times. That line of use pad, Dick, the last inning was terrific. Paul was on its way out to right field for a sure double.
Can't you figure Carlson out, boys? What's he got that's bothering you?
Well, it seems to me that he's got an awfully smart change of pace, Coach.
Yeah, that's right. He tosses curves and curves and more curves. And just when you think you're catching on to him,
He pulls a quick change of pace.
From the bench here, it looks like a slow ball.
No, sir, he isn't slow-balling us exactly.
we're connecting with the ball, so we never seem to be able to get it into the outfield.
There's been hardly a ball knocked out of the infield yet. The far murderer's row.
Well, the ball seems kind of dead when we do hit it.
You know, I noticed that, too. Carlson slips his hand into his hip pocket. So I figured maybe he keeps a rosin bag there and he's dusting off his fingers or something.
Well, I don't know what it is exactly. But next time I'm up, I'm really going to keep my eye on the ball and on Carlson.
Well, don't take too long to get the riddle figured out, boys. If you do, Parr will lose this ball game.
Championship game between Parr and Wilson Academies. And what a whale of a game it is. The score is still tied, 0-0. Looks as though there might be a break any time now. The Wilson team's been hitting Ted Green, the Parr pitcher, pretty freely in the past 2 innings, but he's been saved again and again by brilliant fielding. Up until now, though, the Parr team hasn't been able to solve the tossing of Sandy Carlson. What a pitcher that Wilson boy's turning out to be. 2 gone in the last half of the 8th, and Ted Green, the Parr pitcher, is up. Ted has hit .350 this season. The Parr Cadet Corps is giving him a big hand. Let's listen to it. Hey, Parr, 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 Parr. Carlson stands out there on the mound looking at him. He grins, tugs at his cap, winds up and throws, and it's a ball. Ball 1. He's walking Ted Green deliberately. How do you like that? Carlson is purposely pitching out to Green, walking him to get at Dick Cole. Ball 2, what nerve that is. Cole, who's been leading the league in batting, is next up, and Carlson is deliberately walking Green to get at him. Ball 3. It's doubly dangerous for Wilson, because with a fast man on first, Cole could knock in a run that would end this tie. Ball 4. Green is trotting down to first, and Dick Cole is up at bat. The crowd's going wild. Here's a dramatic moment with Cole at bat. Sandy Carlson reaches into his hip pocket. That's been a characteristic gesture every time he's been in a tight spot in this game. His hand comes out. He winds up. Throws. Strike 1. Carlson burned one across the heart of the plate. Cole didn't take his bat off his shoulder. Stands there looking out at Carlson on the mound, staring at him. Carlson winds up again and... Strike 2. Crowd has quieted down now. You can't hear a sound. It's 2 strikes, no balls on Dick Cole. So far, Cole hasn't budged. The #1 batter of the league is standing there just like a statue, watching Sandy Carlson, the Wilson pitcher, staring and looking as hard as he can. Here's the windup, the pitch, and strike 3. Cole is out. Carlson struck him out on 3 pitched balls. Cole didn't even take his bat off his shoulder. He didn't move. He didn't budge. Carlson struck him out. That's 3 out. There goes Parr's big chance. Parr team's going out on the field now for the first half of the night. Now, wait a minute. The team is clustering around Dick Cole. The Parr coach is hurrying over from the bench. Seems to be some kind of a council of war going on down there on the field. Can't tell what it's all about from up here.
Cole, Dick Cole, what's the idea? You trying to throw the game? You didn't even take the bat off your shoulder.
Coach, I've got it.
Oh, you've gotten us a game in the ash can, Dick.
No, sir. I know it looked funny, my standing there and not even trying to hit. But I was trying to figure out that Indian sign that Carlson has on us. And I finally hit on it.
What is it, Dick?
You better be right, boy. You not only hurt your own batting average,
My batting average isn't important, but winning this game is. Now, look, sir. If I'm right, and I'm dead sure that I am, the next time we're up, we can win this ball game by bunting.
Bunting in the last half of the 9th?
Yes, sir. If we bunt, we'll win this baseball game for sure. I know that we will.
Well, we better had. It's our last chance. All right, boys. We'll try Cole's idea. Next time, everybody bunt. And if it doesn't work, the championship goes right out the window.
What a ball game this is. What a game. It's the last half of the 9th inning of the Parr-Wilson game. Parr has pulled a new strategy that is leaving Wilson helpless. The first three far hitters have bunted, and they've loaded the bases. Imagine it. The first three men in a row have all laid down perfect bunts, one after another. You've never seen bunting like that. The ball is stopped practically dead each time. Carlson, the Wilson pitcher, looks like he's going up in smoke. He was awfully good for 8 innings, but now that the heat's on, he seems to be folding up. Fairchild, the far left fielder, is up. Right-handed hitter. Carlson keeps putting his hand into his hip pocket over and over. The magic hasn't been working anymore. Fairchild a far up, 3 men on. Carlson tugs at his cap, dips his hand into his hip pocket again, winds up slowly. He throws, and Fairchild bunts! The fourth man to bunt. The ball rolls halfway to the pitcher's box, practically stops right there, and there's the winning run crossing the plate. Parr wins the ball game 1-0. This is Parr's game 1-0 in one of the strangest baseball games we've ever seen. The Parr stands are going crazy. Now there on the field, the whole Parr team is slapping Dick Cole on the back. They're pumping his hand, lifting him up to their shoulders. I don't quite get this. It's Fairchild who punted home the winning run, but it's Dick Cole who's the hero of the Parr team down there, and the whole Parr cadet car's going crazy.
Hey, Dick, hurry up and finish your shower.
I can't hear you. The water's running.
I said to hurry up and
I
finish.
couldn't hear you, Ted. I had the shower running. Now, what was it that you said?
I said to hurry up and finish your shower, you smart dope.
I did.
And that's what you did. Yes, you did, without even knowing what I was talking about. Now get dressed as fast as you can.
Well, what's the rush?
The coach wants to see you in the dressing room right away. Dan Trimble, the big league scout, is with him.
Well, no, sir. No professional baseball for me.
I think that Trimble and the coach want to find out how you figured that the way to beat Carlson was to bunt him out of the box.
Oh, so that's it.
That's it. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of curious about the whole thing myself. Somehow you did some awfully fancy thinking somewhere along the line, Dick.
Oh, it was pretty simple, Ted.
Maybe so. But I'm darned if I can figure it out. I'd like to know how you realized that the way to win the game was to bunt. And then bunt some more.
You'd like to know, huh?
Yes, I'd like to know.
Okay, then. Come along to the coach's office and find out. If you don't know already, you'll be about as surprised as I was when I discovered what Carlson was doing.
Come in, boys. Come in.
Thank you, sir.
I want you to meet Dan Trimble. Dan, this is Dick Cole and Ted Green, my stars.
Hi, Dick. How do you do,
Ted,
sir?
very glad to know you, Miss Trimble.
Well, nice to meet you boys. You both played a whale of a game out there today.
Well, thanks a lot.
Your coach here tells me that you're both planning to go on with school, that you aren't interested in a professional baseball career. At least not for a while, he
Oh,
says.
yes, that's right, Mr. Trimble.
Well, now, anytime you boys change your minds, just let me know. We'll find a spot for you. Hey, that was a peach of a game you pitched out there today, Green.
Well, thank you, sir.
And as for you, Cole, you really used your head.
Thank you.
I'll admit that when you were up in the 8th inning and were called out on 3 pitched balls, on 3 called strikes, I wondered for a few minutes whether you had lost your head completely.
Well, a lot of people wondered that, I guess. To tell you the truth, Mr. Trimble, I wasn't any too darn sure myself. A couple of times I almost took a good, healthy cut at that ball.
If you don't mind my asking, Dick, why didn't you?
Yes, Dick, I'd like to know the answer to that myself. Ted here was on first, and if you'd managed to rap out a decent hit, he might have scored, and you could have brought in the winning run right there.
Well, I didn't swing on the ball because of what had happened the other time I was up. And because of what happened to the other fellas, too. You undoubtedly noticed, Mr. Trimble, that even when one of us did connect, the ball didn't travel very far.
Yes, that's very true. I noticed it when I was at the plate. The ball seemed to be awfully dead when we hit it. Now, I kept thinking that Carlson was putting some sort of special spin on the ball, perhaps, when he threw it, you see?
That's what I thought, too, Ted. Until I stood there in the 8th and kept my eye right on the ball. I saw that it wasn't spinning in any different or fancy way at all. And that's when I realized a couple of other things, too.
I believe I'm beginning to see the light, Cole. It took me long enough, though.
Well, I don't get it yet. Afraid I'm not as bright as you are, Dan.
Neither am I.
Well, this all has a tie-up with Carlson putting his pitching hand back into his hip pocket. Isn't that right, Cole?
Yes, sir. You've got the answer, all right. I noticed that every time Carlson got into a tight spot, he put his hand in his hip pocket. Now, at first, I thought maybe he was keeping some rosin there to dry his fingers.
But, Dick, there's a rosin bag right in back of the pitcher's mound.
Exactly. That stuck in my head when I saw you using it during the first half of the eighth, Ted. Well, the thought occurred to me that maybe Carlson was pulling a dishonest stunt. But I had to be sure. So when I was at bat in the eighth, I watched him carefully. You'll remember he walked Ted purposely.
Well, that was showing off, Dick.
Yes, Carlson did that so he could make himself look good against you, Dick. He undoubtedly thought he'd make a better impression on Dan by making the league's leading hitter look silly.
Well, I was sure that when I came up to the plate, Carlson put the ball he'd been using into his pocket. And that he took out another ball. One that he had treated in some way to deaden it.
Oh, I see.
After he struck me out, I saw Carlson carefully pocket the baseball he'd used against me and throw the good one down on the ground for Ted to use against Wilson. Then, when the game ended, in all the excitement, I grabbed the ball that Carlson was using again. The one that the boys were bunting, and that Fairchild bunted in the winning run with. Here it is, Coach.
Let's see here.
Well, look at that. Why, that ball doesn't even bounce.
I'm going to cut it open here.
All right, George, you were absolutely right, Cole. Look at that baseball. It's been tampered with. All the cork center has been removed, and all the rubber's gone.
No wonder we couldn't hit it anywhere. It was a dead baseball that Carlson was saving for emergencies.
Well, he certainly did a clever job of doctoring it, didn't he?
A little too clever.
Yes.
If it hadn't been for Cole's sharp eyes and quick thinking, Carlson would have pitched an impressive winning game. As it was, the perfect thing to do was just what your boys did, Coach. There's nothing like turning a disadvantage to your own purposes. And bunting a dead ball was exactly right.
Mr. Trimble, one thing, when a fellow wants to win a ball game, quite often he'll do almost anything he can to win it. And I just hope that you won't hold all this against Carlson. Because I think that he's pretty anxious to get into professional baseball.
Well, now, Dick, there's one quality that we want in organized baseball. A quality that counts as much as ability, and that is honesty. I hope that today's game will be a lesson for Carlson, because he is good.
Yes, sir, he is.
And if he ever does really learn the lesson that it's better to lose and be honest than it is to win by cheating, well, when he does learn that lesson, I'll have a job waiting for him.
Oh, that's great, Mr. Trimble. And I'm sure he has learned, because he came over and apologized to me right after the game.
Well, that's good. And, Dick, if we do give him a job, I'll send him back to you for lessons in real sportsmanship.
Dick Cole will be back in just a moment. But first... Dick Cole fans, be sure to join us again next week, same time, same station, for another exciting half hour with Dick Cole at Parr Military Academy. Yes, plan to meet Dick Cole every week on the air and enjoy his thrilling radio adventures as you've enjoyed him and his life at Parr in those favorite comic magazines, Blue Bolt and Foremost Comics. And now, here's Dick himself for a final word.
So long, gang. I'll be seeing you again next week. Remember, it's a date.
Welcome back. I am trying to figure out the pitcher's plot, because I was a little confused, because essentially it seems like at some points the story is saying that the pitcher was using the dead ball all the time, and then it sounds like he's only using it in tough situations, which does lead to a problem with Dick Cole's plan. Because if he was only using it in tough situations, why would he be using it against the first batter coming up in the 9th inning? Unless that guy was an exceptionally good bunter with a normal ball, I'm not entirely sure. Though I guess the idea that it would be important, particularly in a 0-0 ball game, to get the first batter out, maybe he would have gone to it in the bottom of the 9th inning. I also think he would have switched back to the normal ball once he had gotten a couple of guys on base. I mean, when you have 2 straight players bunt for base hits, it's a pretty good clue that they're onto your game and that you better come up with something else if you expect to win. So if you're looking for a secondary, more cynical lesson to take away from this program, it's the idea that if you're going to be dishonest, you should also not be stupid as well. Though some of the lack of precision may, and we have to keep in mind it was, written with kids in mind. And I think the overall thrust of the episode is definitely good, both for kids' lives and for the sport, to teach the importance of honesty and good sportsmanship and fair play. Obviously, the way that it was done on today's episode probably wouldn't work with today's kids, and I'm not certain it worked back even in the 1940s, but I at least have to respect the effort. Alright, well, listener comments and feedback now. And we have an email here from Barry, who writes, I've been thoroughly enjoying the 2 stories that you've aired so far, and I'm sure that I will enjoy the rest of them. They've also brought back memories. I've always loved baseball movies, and I've seen the good ones many times. I've seen the Lou Gehrig movie, Pride of the Yankees, many times, and I enjoyed it each and every time I've seen it. I wasn't sure I'd enjoy hearing the radio adaptation, but I did very much. I'd never heard of the X-1 story, but I enjoyed it too. I was interested in your commentary after the story in which you mentioned Eddie Goodell and the circumstances which led him to sign a 1-game contract with the Browns and to come up to bat that one time. Your mentioning of that game really brought back pleasant memories to mind. I was at Sportsman's Park in St. Louis that day and witnessed Goodell taking 4 straight pitches to gain a base on balls. I was at the game with my father, and this particular occurrence is one of my most vivid memories of baseball when I was young, and of my dad. As Bob Hope would sing, thanks for the memories. I'm looking forward to the next 10 baseball stories. I admit I'm a sucker for baseball stories. Thank you for playing them on your podcast. Barry, now a St. Louis Cardinals fan. Barry, thanks so much for the comment, and I'm so glad that my mention of that brought back that memory, because that's, one of those really historic moments that fans, have talked about for years and years. It's great, to witness those things, by television. I was watching when, some great moments happened, like, Joe Carter's series-ending homer to win the 1993 World Series. But to actually witness, something like that in person, it's not a World Series, but that is, one of those things that fans have been talking about for, 6 decades after the event. Now, I did want to clarify regarding our schedule. We actually are only going to have one more episode after this week's program in our baseball series, as we get started on the summer series voted in by the Patreon supporters. However, we did actually play one episode prior to Pride of the Yankees. So if you do check the archives of the show at amazing.greatdetectives.net, you can take a listen to the Alibi Ike episode. Well, that will actually do it for this week. Join us back here next week for the finale of our baseball series. And then coming in 2 weeks, we'll be getting into Top Secret, our summer series. So be sure and listen for that as well. In the meantime, send your comments to box13@greatdetectives.net. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off.